Okay, back again. It's been fantastic just to hear some of the passion and excitement around research from colleagues and from PhD students. I'm also very struck by some of the challenges that come with doing a PhD, and I remember at a very early seminar with a very senior professor when I was first starting out my own doctoral journey, and he just started by putting up on the board 3 words: immensity, inertia, despair. The idea being that it's rather overwhelming to do a PhD, so sometimes, faced with that immensity, you move into a period of inertia. So you go and drink a lot of coffee and watch daytime TV. And then when you realise that you've spent a whole day doing that, then you feel despair. And then you get back into the immensity side of things. But what I would say to you is that's all true, but what is also as much a part of the PhD is the moments of revelation, epiphany, discovery, the moments of renewed energy, and those moments of elation and relief and hysterical joy. I think the scale depends on just how low the despair has been, that come at every part of the cycle. So it is a really exciting journey. It's a journey that's an intellectual one, but it's also a journey that's a personal one, a social one, a professional one, an ethical one in many ways also. And that kind of brings us round to the graduate school. I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So my role is as Dean of the Graduate School. Some of you may be PGT students already, so I've had access to some of our facilities. If you haven't, this is the beautiful building that we have, the Lynn Library beside the Lanyon building. We'll certainly be inviting any of those of you who are interested in carrying on to do a PhD to come in and have some sample sessions with us, get a sense of what we're all about. I think for me the graduate school is about placing you at the centre. What we have is a partnership between academic schools, the faculties, the global research institutes, and then the graduate school coming in and adding a little bit of value added there. And all of that is about putting you at the centre and making you future ready. What's different, I think, about the graduate school is that it's the place where students from every single faculty come together, from every single discipline. So whatever you're doing with us, you'll be speaking to people who are in widely divergent fields from your own. I'm a French specialist, so we have French specialists speaking to cancer specialists, to structural engineers, to philosophers, and so it carries on. And part of that is about pushing you out of your comfort zone, the comfort zone that some actually was talking about, a little bit about pushing you into a different sort of space. In that collaboration, that partnership between the schools, the faculties, the GRIs and ourselves, what we are seeking to do is to deliver a whole person approach to the PhD experience. At the end of this, you won't just walk across the stage here in your lovely gown, as we saw, but you're also going to be developed as a person who's ready to go out into whatever professional environment you may choose, whether that's a university one or far beyond it, and has the flexibility, the creativity, the resilience, as someone mentioned earlier, to adapt to any of those environments. So for us, the Queen's postgraduate experience is achieving that high-level subject excellence. And as PhD students, you are making an original contribution to your fields. It's been wonderful to hear some of that very particular work that's going on across the university. But at the end of it all, we will have trained you in a whole other range of skills. And at the end of it, you can be confident that you're walking across the stage, not just as someone who has a PhD, but as a thinker, an innovator, a communicator, a leader, and who, because of all of that, is future ready. Everything that we do in the graduate school, and those of you, I can see a few familiar faces from PGT programs who are involved with us at the moment with some of our skills development, but everything that we do is centred around these 5 pillars. And as a PhD student, what you have access to is a whole training, professional skills development environment that helps you to develop in relation to each of these areas. And just to mention some of them, thinkers, what we are producing there is it's never a production line for a particular sort of postgraduate to come out at the end. It's about recognising your individual talents, your individual areas where you want to progress, assisting you in doing a 360-degree analysis so you can understand where am I doing well, where do I need to do some work. From there, we help you to develop an individualised, tailored journey through your developmental needs. So you might say, well, my communication skills aren't so good. We'll help you work with that and develop those. So we want to have thinkers who are reflective, who are critical. We use the term disruptive just to think about people who are able to think beyond the boundaries, who are not accepting the conventional wisdom in their subject areas, who are prepared to challenge. We mention innovators, and for innovators, it's not simply creating a new product, although in many cases it might be, as Paul was saying, commercialising research, commercialising ideas, but it's also recognising that all of you have the capacity to be creative, to think beyond what is currently accepted. You can put that into a business-aware environment, you can manage risk, you can be driven by insights. We want to develop leaders. And again, that's not a production line to create CEOs of multinational companies. You'll be leading your PhD. You'll be leading projects with other students. You might be going to work in a charity sector, an NGO, third sector, creative industries. It's about you understanding yourself and how you work with others and with teams. And communicators, it's so important. We've seen this tonight, the skills that our PhD students and our colleagues have in inspiring you with some of the passion for what they do. That's a real skill to be able to explain the value and the purpose of what you do. So we're preparing you for all of that. And all of that moves you to a position of being future ready. And that is the person who's confident, who can stand up as our PhD students have done here, who's resilient, as one of the PhD students was already saying, who's employer focused, who's networked. Everything that we do in the graduate school is based on this idea, this model of inspiring, developing, applying. So in all of those pillars, thinkers, leaders, innovators, communicators, future ready, we start by bringing you into contact with people who are going to inspire you, the sort of people you've been hearing today. People from within the university, thought leaders from outside the university as well. We help you to reflect on what you're hearing from them. We give you precise, specific training to help you develop your own strategies, your own tactics for innovating, for communicating, for leading. And then we create a whole range of possibilities, a whole range of opportunities where you can put that into practice yourself. And the aim there is, as Philip Larkin, who was sub-librarian in the graduate school when it was a library for 5 years, as he said, originality is being different from oneself, not from others. We spend a lot of time in universities, in disciplinary environments, talking to people who kind of believe in the value of what we're doing, who understand what we're talking about. The graduate school puts you in the place where someone will say to you, well, so what? So what? What's the value of what you do? And you really have to communicate in different ways to move into that. We're very focused on global challenges. As I mentioned at the outset, that's very much part of the whole Queen's research and postgraduate experience. These are just some of the areas that we've looked at in the last 6 months, and we're developing a whole new range of activities around these and other themes going forwards. I just wanted to give you a little bit, briefly, a brief insight into the sorts of activities that are open to you around those key pillars. So we talk about thinkers. Partly that's about helping you to think about thinking. We need to kind of reflect on what university is for, what research is for, particularly in a time post-Brexit, post-Trump. Maybe we all need to reflect on our role in terms of challenge and moving forwards. We have research sandpits where we get you together from a whole range of different disciplines, someone from modern languages coming together with someone from pharmacy, to say, okay, how are we going to address the global challenge of healthy future populations? They work together in these really challenging environments and come up with the most stunningly exciting ideas. Interdisciplinary conferences and debates, master classes, big thinker series, concept album talks. If you want to know what those are, then you need to apply and come along. Innovators, again, this is not just about product design. In fact, it's mostly not. It's about ideas generation, design thinking, daring to dream, really. And some of that might evolve into entrepreneurial activity, but some of it may just translate into how you think about your work. Just last week we had a social storm, which was a 24-hour hackathon, where a group of PhD students were locked, well, I don't think they were locked in actually to the graduate school, but they were connected virtually to PhD students all across the world. They were working in multinational teams, both physically and virtually, and they were tackling global problems. I think at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, they were running around the graduate school to try and get their energy levels up again, and security wondered, what are they doing? But it was all a very, very positive experience in terms of kind of working globally. Leaders, as I've said, it's not about a one-size-fits-all. It's about understanding yourself, understanding leadership styles, understanding how you interact with others and influence them. And we have a very wide range of projects, programs available to you. Some very specific, like project management, some much more about relationship building, coaching and mentoring. Communication is so important, as others have mentioned, and the focus of our event tonight is on research that has an impact. But if we want our research to have an impact, we have to be able to explain what that impact is. Sometimes the best thing you can do is imagine your oldest relative, if you have a granny who is like 100 years old, explain to her what you're doing. That's a very good way of being able to communicate to an audience who is going to say to you, don't understand what you're doing. It's great. But you also have to speak to politicians, policymakers, media, employers, external stakeholders. We're training you to do all of that. And I think that it's that whole package that makes you future ready. But just coming back to some of what Paul and others were saying, we're also recognising in the graduate school that you may be wanting to go into an academic career, but you may not. So all the way through, we're also opening up for you the opportunities for other sorts of career options, helping you to prepare for interviews, whether it's an academic life or beyond, and generally, I think, opening up different horizons for you. I just put up a final slide here, really just to sort of highlight some of the range of opportunities that are available to you in the graduate school. I guess my final thought would be, you are, I said it at the beginning, you're at the start of a journey here, and hopefully it's a journey that in 3 or 4 years' time will have you walking across this stage, shaking hands with the Vice-Chancellor and being awarded your doctorate. And ready to put your mark on the world, whether that is in an academic context or whether it's in policy, industry, commerce, third sector, creative industries, whatever it might be. Seize the opportunity, I would say. It's exciting, it's thrilling, occasionally it's moments of despair, but the opportunities are enormous from doing a PhD. I'm going to draw to a close there, but I'm going to encourage you in the time that we have left. We have plenty of time here. We have refreshments at the back, and we have lots of representatives from schools, students and established academics who are very keen to answer your questions, even very, very simple questions like, so what exactly is a PhD? That's also fine. Enjoy the time with them and just make the most of the opportunities to speak to them. I'm just going to ask Una, do I need any more other announcements? Okay, that's us then, so please, by all means, take up time at the back.